Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to second the report tabled by my good chairman. Mr. Speaker, sir, the issue of fiduciary responsibility is a matter which is very important. And having spent a lot of time interrogating the Controller of Budget, the Auditor General report, we find that there are so many challenges in terms of the administrations in county governments. A lot of county administrators, in terms of the Treasury Department of county governments, have no idea about the correlation between the law and how they spend money. There are three pieces of legislation which I hope that every county government can be able to use as a Bible. One is the PFM Act. When we are looking at all these county governments, Mr. Speaker, sir, although we didn't really spend a lot of time looking at 2013, 2014, because these are reports which had been considered by the previous committee, although we adapted them. Mr. Speaker, sir, when we looked at the violation of the PFM Act by most county governments, it really shocked us. The second piece of legislation, which was really being violated heavily, is the Public Audit Act, Mr. Speaker, sir. You will find that during the audit process, most governors have got no clue on how to go through the audit process. What the chair spoke about here, Mr. Speaker, sir, about governors coming in and bringing a lot of reports or documents to the Senate, while the Public Audit Act is very clear, I believe it's section 31, on the process of the audit. Before the Auditor General issues a management letter or the opinion, county governments are given 14 days to be able to find out where they have gone wrong, to be able to mitigate. But most county governments in 2013, 2014, Mr. Speaker, sir, received a disclaimer of opinion, which clearly meant that there was limitation of scope. County governments were not keeping records well. So on the issue of bookkeeping, it's something that this House, as the custodian or the House which defends devolution and protects the county governments, should really emphasize and say those county governments must be able to improve on their record keeping. If you look at the issue of IFMIS, Mr. Speaker, sir, you will find that a lot of transactions from these county governments were being carried out outside IFMIS. The other big problem is the accounting system used by the county governments. Most accounting governments use an accrual basis, but they actually, when you think about it practically, they are using an accrual system, although legally they can only use a cash-based system. This is why most county governments have got a lot of pending bills which should not actually be there. So as a House, when we are thinking about this matter, Mr. Speaker, sir, we have to figure out whether it will be proper for us to introduce a different IFMIS system or a different accounting system for the county governments, different from the national government. Because all these problems, we've seen a few improvements, Mr. Speaker, sir, in subsequent years. But the problem of doing postmortem is that there's really nothing we can do now, because you'll find that in most cases in the report of 2013, 2014, there were issues of the deformed governments, the county governments. There were issues of records missing. There were issues of different accounting system being used. You will find that the bookkeeping kept, or rather the system of bookkeeping by the county government, was based on life form. And now they are looking at a different system on IFMIS. So these were various challenges that I noted that this county government were facing. Needless to say, Mr. Speaker, sir, despite the fact that these county governments were facing these challenges, there was a clear misunderstanding of the roles of the governors. Some of them looked at themselves as mini gods, where they could spend the money as they wish and they didn't have to account to anyone. Mr. Speaker, sir, in some counties, you will find that a county government will have about 20 or 30 accounts. Yet the law is very clear on those accounts. All money collected has got to be put into the revenue account. So I think, Mr. Speaker, sir, as we progress to be able to improve on service delivery for the county government, this House must now come up with proper legislation, amend the PFM Act, so that we can either adopt an accrual system of finance to help this county government. Because when we stand here and we lament, or we stand here and we complain about all the mismanagement of funds, if we cannot give them solutions, there's nothing we'll be doing. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, with those few remarks, I beg to support.